Keanu Reeves walked into the hospital, his presence quiet yet powerful. The air smelled of antiseptic, and the soft beeping of monitors filled the halls. He was there for one reason, to visit a young boy named Oliver, who had been battling a rare illness for most of his life. Oliver's biggest wish was simple, to meet Keanu Reeves, his favorite actor. When Keanu heard about it, he didn't hesitate. He arrived without cameras, without an entourage, just a small wrapped box in his hands. As he stepped into the room, Oliver's tired eyes widened. "No way, it's really you?" Keanu smiled, pulling up a chair beside the bed. "It's really me, buddy." They talked for a while about movies, motorcycles, and space, Oliver's favorite topic. Keanu listened intently, asking questions, making the boy laugh. Then he placed the gift on the bed. Oliver hesitated before unwrapping it. Inside was a small, vintage pocket watch. Its silver surface was worn but beautiful. He traced his fingers over it, confused. "It was my father's," Keanu explained softly. "He gave it to me when I was a kid. Told me time is the most precious thing we have." Oliver looked up, eyes wide. "You're giving this to me?" Keanu nodded. "Because you deserve more time, Oliver." The boy's fingers curled around the watch. A tear slipped down his cheek, but he was smiling. "Thank you, Keanu." Keanu ruffled his hair. "Any time, buddy." Days passed. Then weeks. Something strange happened. Oliver, whose condition had been worsening, suddenly began improving. Doctors were stunned. His parents called it a miracle. And through it all, Oliver kept the pocket watch close, as if it held something more than just time. One night, Keanu sat on his balcony staring at the stars. His phone buzzed. A message from an unknown number. "Thank you for the time, Keanu. I'll use it well." Keanu's breath caught. He looked down at his wrist where his father's watch had always rested. It was back, still worn, still ticking, like it had never left. Keanu Reeves stared at the pocket watch on his wrist, his heart pounding softly in his chest. The same watch he had given to Oliver now returned as if it had never left him. The hands ticked steadily, keeping perfect time, yet something about it felt different. He picked up his phone again, rereading the mysterious message. "Thank you for the time, Keanu. I'll use it well." There was no number attached, no way to reply. A shiver ran down his spine, not from fear, but from something deeper, something unexplainable. The next morning, Keanu called the hospital. "I'm looking for Oliver," he said, his voice steady but expectant. There was a pause. Then the nurse on the other end replied, "Oliver? Sir, I think you may be mistaken. We've never had a patient by that name." Keanu's grip on the phone tightened slightly. "No, that can't be right. I visited him just last week. Room 207. The line was quiet before the nurse responded again, gently. "Room 207 has been empty for months, Mr. Reeves." Keanu didn't say anything. He simply nodded, though no one was there to see it. He thanked the nurse, ended the call, and sat in silence, staring at the watch. It was still ticking. Still real. He exhaled, a slow smile forming on his lips. Looking up at the sky, he whispered, "Use it well, Oliver." And for just a moment, high above the city, one star flickered, brighter than all the rest. Keanu Reeves sat there for a long time, the pocket watch resting in his palm, ticking steadily. The world outside his window carried on as usual. Cars moving, people walking, life continuing. But for him, something had shifted. Later that evening, as he stepped out for a quiet stroll, something strange happened. A little boy ran past him on the sidewalk, laughing, his parents trailing behind. Keanu barely noticed at first, but then something made him turn. The boy stopped at the corner, looking back over his shoulder. He had bright eyes filled with energy. Something about him felt familiar. He gave Keanu a small, knowing smile before disappearing into the crowd. Keanu's fingers instinctively tightened around the pocket watch. His heart was calm, yet his mind raced. Back at home, he placed the watch on his nightstand. The ticking sounded softer now, almost like a heartbeat. As he lay in bed, drifting toward sleep, a whisper, barely more than a breath, moved through the quiet room. "I'm using it well." Keanu smiled without opening his eyes, and somewhere beyond the stars, time continued just as it always had. That evening, Keanu Reeves walked through the quiet streets, the new pocket watch tucked safely in his coat pocket. He didn't know exactly where he was going. He just followed the pull of something unseen, something guiding him. As he passed by a small hospital, a familiar feeling washed over him. He stopped, staring up at the building, the glow of the windows flickering like distant stars. Without hesitation, he stepped inside. The nurse at the front desk looked up, surprised. "Mr. Reeves, can I help you?" Keanu gave a gentle smile. "I think I'm here to visit someone." The nurse hesitated, then nodded. "There's a boy in room 304. He doesn't get many visitors." Keanu didn't need to hear more. He made his way down the hallway, pushing open the door to find a frail-looking child staring out the window, lost in thought. The boy turned, eyes widening. "Keanu Reeves!" Keanu grinned, pulling up a chair beside the bed. "Hey, buddy, mind if I sit?" The boy nodded eagerly, excitement lighting up his tired face. They talked about movies, motorcycles, and space, just like before. And then, when the moment felt right, Keanu reached into his coat and pulled out the brand-new pocket watch. "For you," he said, placing it gently in the boy's hands. The boy's fingers traced the edges, his eyes shining. "Really? Why?" Keanu smiled. "Because time is precious, and I think you deserve a little more of it." The boy clutched the watch to his chest, eyes brimming with emotion. "Thank you, Keanu." Keanu simply nodded. "Use it well." As he left the hospital, a soft wind brushed past him carrying something familiar. A warmth, a presence. He glanced up at the night sky, and in a brief moment he swore he saw it. Among the stars, the faint outline of a name. Oliver. Keanu smiled. Somewhere, time continued, and he would keep passing it on. As Keanu Reeves stepped out into the cool night air, he felt something shift inside him. A quiet understanding, as if the universe had whispered a secret only he could hear. He didn't need to turn back. He knew the boy in room 304 was holding on to that watch, just like Oliver had. And he knew somehow that it would make a difference. Days turned into weeks. Keanu continued with his life, filming movies, attending events, going about his quiet routines. But something had changed. The weight of time felt different now, as if he was no longer just living in it, but moving it, passing it forward like a gift. Then one evening, his phone buzzed with a message from an unknown number. "I'm using it well, thank you." Keanu exhaled, a small smile playing on his lips. No name, no explanation. But he already knew. The next morning he walked into another toy store and found another silver pocket watch waiting for him. Because somewhere someone else was waiting for time. And Keanu Reeves would be there to give it to them.